Hey, y'all, when it comes to the AC business, trust goes a long way, and that's why I recommend Cool Kings Heating and Air. The good folks at Cool Kings are licensed and experienced technicians that provide the top-notch service that you deserve throughout Baton Rouge and the surrounding areas. They offer everything from emergency AC repair to complete AC replacements and maintenance plans tailored to keep your system running all year round. And right now, you can get financing on a brand new heating and cooling system totally interest-free. That's 0% interest on a brand new system. Give them a call at 225-681-2665 for more information, or visit them on the web at coolkingsheatingandair.com. Cool Kings Heating and Air is a verified partner of Local Leaders, the podcast. Hey, everyone, and welcome back to Local Leaders, the podcast. And here for a second episode is Senator Rick Edmonds. So first, I want to welcome you to the podcast for a second time.
Man, I can't believe that you hadn't offered me the co-host job yet.
Look, you got it. You got it. I got a chair waiting on you once you're done with what you're doing, which is you're going to be, hopefully, our 5th congressional district guy right here for the United States Congress.
Man, I hope so. I'm working hard already, and what a great district. I mean, such great people. Yeah. You know, my senatorial district, almost all of it's in all of it is in this congressional or House District 5. So I'm very familiar with EBR, Livingston, Tangipahoa, multiple parishes that Avoyelles, Franklin. It goes all the way to Bastrop, which is north of Monroe.
Yep.
So yeah, it's quite a geographical district.
Expansive district, a lot of ag in your district.
Yep.
So a little bit of everything, really.
You know, that whole central part, when you get, I don't know how familiar your audience is, but, you know, when I go to the north on this side, I'll go through Natchez usually, and then you cut across and you'll go through Vidalia and Faraday, and then you end up in Winnsboro. So just to take them along that path, that's kind of what it does, straight all the way up to I-20.
Yeah.
And then you kind of take I-20 left or west, and you'd go just a portion of Monroe up to Bastrop, and then so that's the edge of the northwest piece up there.
Very good. Very good. Of course, in the first episode that we did, we talked a lot about your history, not only your history in politics, but your history in general. We talked about where you were born, raised, all that sort of stuff. Today, we're going to be a little more poignant on the issues, some of the issues that would come up in your district, get your opinions and your thoughts and where you stand on those. But before we do, something different with this particular year, and that is it's a closed primary.
It is.
And a lot of people have asked me, what is the difference between a closed primary and an open primary that we've had in the past? So can you explain that quickly?
Sure. So it used to be, you'll hear people say it was a jungle primary.
So probably a good term.
The jungle primary meant that anybody that was running for an office, they would all be together. It would mean independents, Republicans, Democrats, no parties. So everybody would be, and you had to get 50.1 to move forward. Most of the time it didn't happen. So you'd have the top two move forward. It could be 2 Republicans, it could be 2 Democrats, it could be one of each, and then you go to the general election.
Yeah.
A closed primary says that in this case, Democrats can't vote for a Republican in a closed primary. Independents and Republicans can vote, and a no-party person can declare what they are going to do and stay with on this particular election.
Yeah.
So in May, we will have a closed primary, May 16th, and you will have multiple things on the ballot, including United States Senate and this congressional seat. And if you're a Republican or an independent, you will get to vote for multiple candidates of both the United States Senate and Congress. If you're a Democrat, then you won't be able to vote for a Republican candidate. You'd have to vote for a Democrat candidate.
Yeah.
And if you don't get your 50.1, then you'll have a runoff 5 weeks later of the top 2 of both parties. And then ultimately in November, you will have a Democrat and a Republican.
Yeah.
So that's the way it'll fall.
Gotcha. So essentially, and there's still a possibility, or is there still a possibility if there were, or in the primary, if 2 Republicans or 4 Republicans, however many there are, you vote for one, if they get less than 50%, is there still a runoff?
Yeah,
okay.
Top 2 move forward at the end of June.
Gotcha.
And ultimately, only one Republican will move forward into November.
Gotcha.
That's the reason this primary election is so important, is that only one Republican ultimately is going to move forward.
That's exactly what I was leading up to. It's as important to vote in this primary, if not more important. Well, I wouldn't say more important, but as important as voting in the general election in November.
Yeah, the people are going to decide who the one person will be on the November ballot.
Yeah.
And there'll only be, in the past, you could have had 2 Republicans. Yeah. And people might have said, well, we can't lose. We just got a Republican either way. And we just picked the one we like. But in this case, you got to do it now.
Yeah.
In May or in May, June, you have to pick the person that you think will be the fighter that will get the job done in Congress. I believe there's a person that can get that done.
I believe so as well. And so we'll move on to some of the concerns / issues and your thoughts on those. And I'm gonna start with the 10 Commandments. Something I am in major support of. Is just passed was a bill to allow the 10 Commandments to be placed in every school.
In every classroom.
Every classroom.
Yeah, we passed a bill. My friend, Representative Dodie Horton, who is from the Bossier City area up in Shreveport, Bossier, passed a bill, and it came through, and I quarterbacked that bill through the through the Senate, because I'm chairman of the Senate Education Committee.
Yes.
So we passed it through, and then ultimately passed it out of the Senate, and then ultimately the governor signed it. Of course, there were lawsuits filed against it, and now what's happened is they have lost.
Yeah.
So we move forward at no cost to the taxpayer. There's donors have already lined up to put the 10 Commandments in every classroom in every public school in the state of Louisiana. We're leading the nation, and we are excited about that. You and I talked off air a little bit about, you may not even agree with the 10 Commandments, but man, those are 10 really solid rules.
It's hard to go wrong with them.
If you were a believer or an unbeliever, if you just practiced multiples of these, life's just going to be better for people, period.
Thou shalt not kill. Thou shalt not commit adultery. That's,
our forefathers, they didn't hesitate. When you look at the formation of American government, it has the Bible all over it. You have the judicial system, you have the representation that was given to Moses, the lawgiver. You have the 10 Commandments. We didn't hesitate about what we believed, and they became our foundational values.
Yes.
Now, what our children are seeing today is they look up and think, we don't have any of that left, because people are fighting it left and right and saying that you can't do this, or they're offended by, it's not constitutional. Our forefathers didn't have any issues with this. They believed that if you didn't read the Bible, something was missing in your life.
Amen.
And you know what? There is something missing in your life. If you don't have Christ in your life and you don't have any Bible standards to follow, the world's not going to be a better place. Look, I'm very opinionated about that.
No, that's okay. That's okay. Let's get into, there's even going to be a monument, possibly.
Well, I'm offering a bill this session that will come out of the Senate, and we are asking to put a monument at the Capitol there on the lawn. And it will basically represent the 10 Commandments that will be posted in Louisiana permanently as a part of our landscape at the state capitol grounds.
Wonderful.
So I'm asking my colleagues to join with me on that, and I feel very certain that Governor Landry will sign that bill, and I believe we'll have folks that will step up and provide that at no cost to the taxpayer. And we'll be one of the leading states that put great things enshrined, like veterans.
Yes.
The 10 Commandments, great heroes that we have of leadership.
Yes.
It's kind of a historical thing. I'm really excited about it.
Yeah. I think it's a great thing, and look forward to hearing and seeing more on that and seeing it coming to fruition. Let's talk about Community Diversion Canal, flood control. of course, where you're sitting right now, where we're recording this, was underwater at one point in 2016. So we know we know a lot about floods, unfortunately, around here.
Well, in this election, what I'm asking people to make certain they consider, you got to know something about this district. You just can't read about it. You can't hear about it. You got to live it. And I've lived this district for the past, since I've been in Baton Rouge since 1988. I've been in Livingston Parish since about the same time. Been involved in all kinds of church work, but also in the political realm for many, many years. And 2016 was a devastating flood. And it didn't just hit a house. It hit entire neighborhoods.
Towns.
Churches, towns, all businesses. Churches there were churches in our area that had over 5 foot of water inside. There were entire neighborhoods that lost everything that they had. I mean, everything. So I remember Cindy and I were in with a whole group of hundreds of people that we took meals every day for about 4 straight weeks. We moved out of our house. We didn't flood, but we couldn't get in and out of our neighborhood. So we moved out. A friend let us move in. We just took our blue jeans and T-shirts and tennis shoes, and we went and we cooked and prepared, and we had chefs come in, and we loaded up trucks and we loaded up vans, and we took thousands of meals all over South Louisiana. We started with peanut butter sandwiches and water on airboats because we couldn't. French settlement, they didn't have anything. They had any water. They had anything to drink, zero. So the only way we could do it is we had the Cajun Navy come in.
Yeah.
And we loaded boats down with meals, and we took them where nobody could get to. You couldn't get a car in there. And we did that for weeks to make certain that people could survive. We stood on the streets with people that, everything they owned. You couldn't even see the house. There was so much stuff piled up. This is only 2016.
Yeah.
This just happened.
Yeah.
And you got to live it.
You got to live it.
So as a legislator, then I was put on the Comite River Diversion Committee, and we've been working with the people nationally, federally, and people locally to make certain that we stayed as involved as we could. This is a multi-billion-dollar effort that's being built. It's the most movement of anything like it in America. Yeah. We move more dirt and tonnage than any dirt project in the United States of America, and that's happening in this district. That's going to move water from, and there are people federally and people in this race that are apparently that's not for this. The only reason they could be not for it, in my opinion, again, is that they don't live here. They don't know about what we live through.
Yes.
Maybe they should have been in a boat with me at the Bethany Church in Baker when you couldn't get a book out of their library for their school. Or maybe they should have been here in Denham Springs, where we had multiple public schools and middle schools that we had to completely evacuate them. Completely had to change our school schedule. Had to change where we had to double up to make certain the kids could be educated.
Yes, my children had to literally go into T buildings in a school that did not flood because their school flooded. They were in 6th grade at that point, and it was a nightmare. And you're dealing with that as a parent when everything you own just got washed down into the Amite River. So it's very important.
So when people ask me, why are you running? What are you doing? I mean, why are you so passionate about this? That's why I'm so passionate.
Yeah.
Because I want to go to Washington and I want to be the fighter that will say, this is what happened in our district, and we're not going to stand by and wait for the next devastation. We're going to move forward with projects to move water or to infrastructure or drainage to make certain that we are in the best shape we can possibly be in. And somebody has to live sometimes the devastation of humanity in order to know how to fight for it. Oh, and I'm telling the people on your program today that I am that guy.
You are that guy. And let's move on to infrastructure. Now, Livingston Parish, fastest growing parish in the state of Louisiana.
Amazing.
Good friend of mine says, why not Livingston on everything he says? And the reason he says that is we do take some pride in being the fastest growing parish. A lot of people are moving out here because they see potential in our parish. And those of us who have been here forever, we love that. My question to you is, what are plans for infrastructure? Is that something you plan on tackling in Washington?
100%. Let me tell you, I've already tackled it here. Yeah. I told you on the last program, I think just briefly, that I was put on the House Appropriations Committee which has now been over 10 years ago. And we're responsible for every budget. It doesn't matter what it is. It could be agriculture, it could be petroleum, but it's also what we do with infrastructure. Yeah. And getting involved in that particular time period, I think we all know the problems that we have on I-10 and I-12. So I fought for $450 million of Garvey bonds that we've seen right now. The projects you see in Baton Rouge that are almost concluded, that's the money we got. We got more money than any area of anywhere in the state, whether it was Ruston, New Orleans, no matter what. We got the number one lion's share of that. We got that because I fought for that over in Joint Legislative Committee on the Budget. And now we're culminating those projects. Well, let me add that. Now I-12 is a nightmare. We're very concerned about the infrastructure part of I-12, for example, 3 lanes to 2 lanes, and the car wrecks, the backups. It's just terrible. Yeah. So what we have to do is we got to find those dollars, and then we've got to appropriate those dollars for I-12 to get us moving as far as the money will go. Yeah. So I want you to know I am super committed as a part of the next thing that I'm going to tackle is for the I-12 expansion. And I'm going to meet with DOTD. I've already met with them. I've already gone through the Garvey bond program, which is complicated, and we won't go through it today because of that. But I've already met this about 2 months ago, started this discussion with DOTD that we're looking at how we can involve ourselves with the next flow of funding, monies, that we can find the pot of money and get a big portion of that again and be able to put it towards the people in Livingston Parish. I'm committed to it. I'm going to get it done.
I believe you will, and that's what it takes. It takes someone fighting for that, and they're just not going to turn that money over. You've got to be a fighter in Washington. You got to be someone that's going to stay on them and really promote your state and your need for those federal dollars. Right?
You do. Let me add to that, and that there's more than one approach to do this. Some people in their style, they walk in a room and throw grenades in the room. They just blow everything up, and that's not my style. My style is I begin to work with people and to try to build coalitions, because you've got to build those coalitions to find when you really got to have a need. You got to have some people stand with you. Yeah. So what I have done is there have been needs that New Orleans have. I try to work with them. Lake Charles need a bridge. They do need a bridge. If you ever drive to Texas, you'll know how desperately. So, I've stood with my colleagues in Lake Charles when people would say, well, you're not from Lake Charles. It doesn't matter. I know that we need help in Livingston Parish. Well, if you don't ever work with someone else and their need, you're just not concerned about anything about what happens with them, you're not going to move the needle forward. It's just not going to happen. That's right. So you build these relationships. And, that's the reason I have so many of the local leaders that have already endorsed me and supported me. If you look at it, whether it's in Ascension Parish, Livingston Parish, EBR, Tangipahoa, if you look at, and people are wondering, well, why are all these people endorsing Rick? I mean, the reason is because I work with every one of them. I've already built such a friendship. Yeah. And a camaraderie of saying, what can we do for our people? I'm so proud of that. I am so honored that these men and women that are in, and I just picked Livingston Parish because that's where we are today. Sure. But, when I look up at the leadership, almost all the main leaders of Livingston Parish have already endorsed this campaign. Yeah. And they know when I get to Washington, they know what's going to happen. They know when the phone rings that I'm going to pick it up. I'm going to make certain that I get the thing that they need. I'm going to listen to whatever. Let's just say it's Randy DeLatte and it's, the president of the parish. Yeah. I already built that relationship so that he can tell me, hey, this is what we're really struggling with. Help me with this. And he knows I am. Yeah. If it's a Jeff Taylor that's going to be with not just with the assessor's office, but he's looking at, because he's parish committed.
Absolutely.
And if you look at somebody that's parish committed, they're going to pick up the phone and go, hey, Rick, this is what's up. Can you help us with this? We just did the executive airport and just, trying to get something in here for 10 years down the road. Last year I was able to secure funding to make certain we get the runways built. Or if it's the Livingston Parish School Board, and they look up and say, man, we're one of the best. We're top 10 in the state of Louisiana. Not by accident.
Nope.
They're not by accident.
And that's hard to do when you're the fastest growing parish.
It is. So I am in love with the opportunity to work with Livingston Parish, and even as a senator, no matter what, I'm going to work with Livingston Parish. I'm going to do everything I can to help this growth, but to help it be such a great family place, great place to worship, great place to shop, Man, what's not to like?
What's not to like?
Yeah.
I love it. Let's talk about everybody's favorite topic, taxes. Just something tough to. It's one of those things. There's a need for it in some circumstances, but a lot of people think we're overtaxed in certain areas, and they're looking for some reductions. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, we've just passed some sweeping legislation that's going to, and you're going to start feeling it. We were at. Now what we've instituted is a 3% across the board personal income tax.
Yeah.
So we've dropped it now from in the 4s, and one time it was in the 5s. And so we've got one single flat tax, 3%. Now what our goal is next year, to try to get to next year, is to get it to 0. Yeah. And I believe we can get you see the fastest growing states, whether it's Florida or Tennessee or Texas, we're starting to be listed with those people of people. Economic growth is happening here. Education reform is going on. So people are looking at Louisiana again. Well, one of the things they're interested in is what do they say about taxes? And so we're making certain that we get the corporate taxes have been reduced in the last changes. Personal income tax have been reduced in the last changing. Franchise tax will be eliminated. We got some vote going to the public on May 16th. Some will for permanent teacher pay raise. It's all of that. All of that culminated. Let me mention one other thing to you that people ought to know. I've been a fighter to reduce debt. All the way back to 1988, Louisiana was in billions of dollars worth of debt, and they just cast it forward, and we've been paying debt and interest for decades. Yeah. So I've been fighting and joining with colleagues to say, let's pay off all the debt we can possibly pay off so that we can – because, debt is a killer. Yep. It's a killer in your own pocketbook, and it's a killer in the government's pocketbook.
100%.
You hear how many trillions of dollars worth of debt that the feds are in, in long-term problems for that. Louisiana has to have a balanced budget every year. We fight for that balanced budget, but we also try to keep it steady these last 3 years in a row to where we were not increasing the need for more money in state government.
Yeah.
This year we'll have another almost 0 increase that's going to be. And you know what? Year after year after year, ultimately the taxpayer wins on that. That's what happens. Yeah. And we'll be able to return back several $100 million when we get rid of personal income tax. That's the next goal.
I love it. And, just in the past few weeks, we've had several large companies come to Louisiana. Amazon, I believe it was, is building a lot of infrastructure here. It's a $13 billion facility or something like that. That generates money for things like roads and infrastructure and paying down debt. And so these larger companies are a big deal when they come to Louisiana. And you're right. You see a lot more of interest in Louisiana, it seems like, in the past year or so.
Well, I think it's amazing. I was in Monroe last week, and Meta is up there building, which is the biggest project that we've ever seen. Probably historically, it's the largest investment project ever.
Yeah.
And then you got Amazon that's investing, and then you got a steel plant that's coming in Donaldsonville, and then you got the liquid petroleum that's booming in Lake Charles. So the job market is incredible. It's the best it's ever been. I've never seen anything like it.
Yeah.
So we're trying to make certain that we get our people to stay here and get these jobs and prepare them and all that. So that's really happening right now. It really is an amazing thing. Economic development in Louisiana is it's a national issue. People are looking at Louisiana and saying, "Good, what are you guys doing here?"
Yeah,
it's really amazing.
Yeah, looking at us for the good things.
You bet.
Instead of the negative things. One more topic before we get out of here today that I'd like to discuss, and that is insurance, something that there's some concern out there from people, especially with car insurance rates, things like that. Some of that is easy to control. Some of that really hard to control. I mean, the driving has to improve in some cases to lower insurance rates, for example. But let's talk about that for a minute. What are your thoughts on what can be done there?
Yeah, so we've already, again, you're talking about multiple bills last session. In fact, the last 2 sessions, we have passed just about it's sweeping legislation that will, whether it's called tort reform, a lot of that tort reform comes in to say in a courtroom, you can't sue for more than what actual medical costs are and whatnot. We put those in. If you don't have insurance, then you got to pay to play. That we passed that. Yeah. If you don't have it, if you're not, if you're more than 51% responsible for your accident, you can't get these unbelievable sums of money that were coming back through the court system.
Yes.
And so very difficult to pass. And it's the most that we've ever seen in Louisiana history. Now, I want to tell you, I want to be honest with your listeners, because we're all paying high insurance.
Sure.
I'm paying it, you're paying it, we're paying it. So it's going to take a bit as we're getting more providers that are coming in writing, and that's happening. We know that that's occurring. It's going to take a little bit for much of this legislation took place last July.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you're talking about a few months ago for the insurance rates to start to drop. There's a little going on. In homeowners, we passed and have been funding a thing called fortified roofs, which meant in the hurricane region, that's the biggest need of what insurance companies look up and go, oh, I'm not writing in that area, because if I do, they're going to lose their roof and it's going to cost us a fortune and we're going to lose money. Yeah. So we put this fortified roof program in. We followed Alabama on this, and we put several $1 million in. Not enough money yet, but it puts a different style of roof, which it basically helps when the winds are high to be able to keep your roof on your house.
Yeah, which is a pretty major component.
That's the idea.
Yeah.
Ultimately, will that save us money? We believe the data shows that it will. Yeah. These auto reforms and tort reform, ultimately, will it save us money? And the data says that it will. And I don't know how many bills will be offered. This is a big session. I'm not sure of how many in the insurance that we'll have this time. But anything and everything that we could possibly look at over the past 2 years, I sit on insurance. Yes. And I also sit on what's called Judiciary A, which is civil law, which means that's where the lawsuits go. Yeah. I sit on both of those committees. And I have moved every bill I could possibly move. As your senator, I've moved every bill I could possibly move that I had the opportunity to move and vote for. Yeah. And listen, I'll keep doing it. I make my commitment. I am reading, learning, growing. I'm not an insurance agent. That's not my background.
Sure.
But I have went to every meeting, every committee meeting, every special hearing. I went to all of them, and to try to learn everything I could learn to try to pass the right legislation, and I'm trying.
Yeah.
I am trying.
Yeah. And, I think what a lot of people are looking for is just light at the end of the tunnel, and know that people are working in the right direction. And I know you're doing that. I see you doing that currently in the Senate. So I know that will continue in the 5th District congressional seat.
Well, I've been healthy, and that's a big part of. So I hadn't been a sickly person, or I'm not lazy, or I'm motivated. So I want your people to know, when you elect me, you get a guy that goes to work, just like they do. Yeah. I don't sit there and say, well, I got elected now. Now I'm on easy street. I look at it just the opposite. You send me to Washington. Here's what you're going to get. Do I know everything? I don't know everything. Can I fix everything? I can't fix everything, but I'm going to be there. And I am going to be there every day, and I'm going to be in every committee meeting I'm assigned to, and I'm going to be right there with Speaker Mike Johnson, and I'm going to listen, I'm going to learn, I'm going to work, and I'm going to fight. And I'm going to be the voice that these people expect. I am the voice for this district. Yeah. So if I don't show up and have a voice, these people don't have a voice. They don't have anybody to go speak for on their behalf. It's not my district. It's our district. So my goal is to go and be the voice that they want me to be. And I want them to be proud of their voice. I want them to know I'm not going to Washington to play. I'm not going to Washington to just have fun. I like to travel, but it's not about travel. It's not about any of that. It's about hard work. It's about diligence. It's about dedicating yourself to the people of this wonderful district. So I'm asking them, elect me, please. Yes. Give me the chance. If you don't, then you can pick somebody else. Give me that shot. I won't let you down.
I don't think we can end it any better than that. One more time, the voting day is
May 16th.
May 16th. Be there. It's closed primary this year, so make sure. Whatever you got to do to be there and vote, please do so. I want to thank you for coming on again.
I love it.
You're welcome to come back anytime that you want to get a message out. I promise you I'll do my very best to push it out. And I want to thank all the listeners. Look, Senator Edmonds' first podcast, great numbers on that podcast. I was really happy to see those. Thank you so much for sharing it. I saw a lot of you did. And until next time, for Local Leaders, I'm your host, Jim Chapman. Much love.